Hi, welcome to the Secret College Funds class. We're going to talk about some hidden resources to pay for college. I want to jump right in here. Who am I? I'm Jerome Bell. I'm the founder of Mega School. Mega School is high school except it's for adults. So if you want to learn anything from obscure to mainstream to anything in between, you can learn in Mega School, including how on earth are we going to pay for college? So, why am I sharing this? I started a teen program. It's a combination of financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and civics. And what it actually is a new political party that's going to be exclusively operated and controlled by teenagers, 13 to 18, 19 year out. It's called third party, literally. And a couple things we focus on: artificial intelligence or AI. How do we stay one step ahead of AI so that it's serving us and not destroying us, especially as a middle class? And also cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and the like, digital currencies, except we look at the fact that Bitcoin isn't the main story in cryptocurrencies. So we look about how to take advantage of that and sharing it with the Commonwealth. So here's a question that's a bit ironic. Where's the education for how to pay for education? Ironically, that's a bit lacking. And we look at the numbers here, 2024 to 2025, public in-state tuition, $11,000. Public out-of-state, 24,000, and private schools, 43,000, according to U.S. News. So these are and that's just for 1 year. So these are the numbers that parents are dealing with. Well, what if we kind of took an academic approach to this? Like we make this a research paper. So here's the professor's prompt. What is the best way to fund your education? Now we know we're going to talk about scholarships and grants, right? But if all we do is talk about even the best scholarships and grants, we'll probably get a C at best because the professor is going to say, well, what about other possible sources of funding? And it's like, okay, well, let's answer that question. So what's going to be our strategy? We're going to cheat. We're going to cheat. We're just going to hire a team of financial experts, and they're going to tell us the most efficient way to pay for college.
Have you ever wondered why the rich get richer while the masses struggle financially? They have an unfair advantage. Unlike you, they have a team of financial experts who ensure they make more money, keep more of the money they make, and that their money makes money for them. And now, you can too. Most Americans can't afford financial experts and have been left to figure it out on their own. We were never taught how to become wealthy in school. Now you know why less than 5% of Americans are considered wealthy. This is why we've created the only lifestyle and legacy company that provides affordable access to your own personal team of financial experts who will handle all the important but complicated financial work for you while guaranteeing your success. Contact the person who shared this video to schedule a lifestyle and legacy conversation today. Your unfair advantage is waiting.
And unfair is exactly what we're looking for, okay? So in the Make Wealth Real program, they're focused on your entire lifestyle and your entire legacy. So passing down generational wealth to your children's children. We just need to know enough about how to pay for college. And they have what we need to do that. Let's take a look at that. First of all, what will be our college fund? Well, the experts told us your ultimate college fund is going to be a trust fund. Okay, so what does that look like? So, what even is a trust? Well, a trust is literally a three-party contract. So we know what a two-party contract is. Bob and Sally both sign on the line. That's a legally binding contract. Well, a trust is a three-party contract where you have the creator, you have the trustee, and a beneficiary. So let's look at a trust fund, baby, as a concrete example. You got a parent who has $250,000 and the child's only 10 years old. They want to make sure they get it when they're 18. So the parent is the creator of the trust fund. So they're the one putting $250,000 into the trust fund. Well, who's going to oversee the money until the child is 18? Somebody who they literally trust, like a godparent, for example. They're the trustee overseeing the money until the child turns 18. Then they get the money because the child is a beneficiary of the trust fund. And that's your trust fund, baby. But there's a principle called own nothing but control everything. That means you're literally living your life through your trust. So nothing is owned in your name. So your house is owned by your trust. Your cars are owned by your trust. Your LLCs, your businesses, are owned by your trust, same as your intellectual property. And then when you go to the grocery store, you're not swiping with your personal debit card. You're swiping with your trust debit card. It's coming out of the trust fund. What does that look like? So how would the cool kids do it in terms of having a trust fund baby? Well, the creator could be anybody, because not all trusts are equal, and the trusts that are in this program are irrevocable complex trust. Irrevocable means the creator can put into the trust fund, but they can't take out of the trust fund. They can put in, but no take backs. Okay, so therefore the lawyer who's writing up the trust contract, they're the ones who could be the creator. It's really a formality. Now, who holds the power is the parents. And so the parents will be the trustee. And then the child will actually be the successor trustee, which means they're basically the backup trustee. So when the child turns 18, the parent resigns as trustee, and therefore the child becomes the primary trustee. They hold the keys to the kingdom. They can spend the trust fund money however they like. And then who gets the leftovers, a beneficiary? That depends. There's a strategic way to go about that, and we're going to look at that in just a moment. But first, we need to understand the power of jurisdiction. This is what makes a trust bulletproof, and that's the key. Not all trusts are equal. So the trusts in this program, our Ultimate College Fund, is bulletproof. So we learned about English common law in school. Actually, we didn't. But the highest law of the land is English common law. That is the King of England, the law of England. The United States of America itself was created under English common law. Now we know about Indian nations. That's the term that the federal government uses, so I'm going to use that intentionally. Indian nations can have casinos, but that we know that violates federal law. How are they able to have casinos? Well, that's because Indian nations are not under the jurisdiction of the federal government. That's it. Now we do know that there's state law, which is subject to federal, and local law, which is subject of both. And the trust that we create is a English common law trust, a trust in the jurisdiction of English common law. That means it's co-equal with the federal government itself. So in the same way the federal government can't regulate an Indian nation, they also can't regulate your trust. This is how you have a bulletproof trust fund, the ultimate college fund. Now, LLCs and corporations, we've heard about those. Those are created by the state. And that's why states can regulate LLCs and corporations. And likewise, the federal government can regulate LLCs and corporations because they're even higher than the state. But your trust cannot be regulated by federal, state, or local. This is true bulletproof power. Now, how would we leverage this? Right? Our ultimate college fund, a trust fund. You have an LLC that's bringing in income from your business, and then you funnel money into your business trust. Then you take the profit and funnel that into your family trust. This is where you're doing the personal spending, where instead of swiping with your personal debit card at the grocery store, you're swiping with the trust debit card. I'm talking about the family trust. Okay, that's also going to be where your college funds is going to be held in your family trust. Anything left over is funneled into your private foundation. Let's look at a concrete example. I'm going to keep the numbers simple to illustrate the concept. You have an LLC that's $150,000 of revenue. You're going to do a K-1 distribution to your business trust. Your business trust is going to be one of the owners of the LLC. And for that reason, the LLC is going to pay zero in taxes. $150,000 came in, $150,000 is tax deferred through the K-1 distribution to the business trust. That's zero taxable income. The business trust, okay, they have $50,000 of expenses. We know those are going to be tax deductible. And the $100,000 of profit, that's going to go to the family trust. But get this, the business trust also pays zero in taxes. We know the $50,000 of expenses are tax deductible, but here's something that a trust can do that LLCs and corporations cannot do. 100% of what goes to the beneficiary of the trust is tax deferred. Well, guess what? The beneficiary of the business trust is the family trust. So you had $150,000 come in, but you have $150,000 of deductions in deferred taxes. That's zero taxable income for the business trust. Now, for the family trust, this is basically our household income. So we have $80,000 of that's spent in a given year. Now, this is actually going to be $80,000 of tax deductions. Why? Any contractual obligations of the trust is by definition an expense and therefore is deductible. So we make sure we structure the contract that all of our expenses are accounted for. Then the $20,000 remaining, that's going to be donated to our private foundation. The family trust, for this reason, pays zero in taxes. Once again, the trust can do something that LLCs and corporations can't do. 100% of donations, they can donate unlimited to a charity, a 501c3 organization, and it's all tax deductible. So we had $100,000 come into the family trust. We have $100,000 of deductions and for the expenses and for the donations to the charity. So let's look at this private foundation. We hear about Oprah Winfrey, LeBron James, the Bill Gates, the Clintons. They have these foundations. In a foundation, there's only one real main requirement. 5% needs to go to taxes. Really, it needs to be donated to a 501c3 organization or to a charitable cause. Well, 5% of 20,000 is 1,000. So we'll call it a tax, quote unquote. Well, what happens to the other $19,000? It's invested, and it's invested in anything you like. And all profit from your investments in a foundation are earned tax-free. So let's look at this. You had $100,000 of household income, and you only paid 1% in taxes. That's effectively a tax rate of 1%. See, the wealthy have been playing by different rules. This alone will help you to pay for college. Here's why. We have $44,000 for a year of tuition. We're going to be very conservative throughout this class. We're going to assume we're going to a private school. So that's $44,000 a year. That's $176,000 for 4 years. If you have 14 years until it's time to go to college, the trust fund alone will be able to pay for that, because you're going to have at least $12,500 in tax savings a year. So basically your taxes are going to drop by $12,500 a year with that tax structure. And so if you have 14 years until it's time to go to college, your trust fund alone, your college fund itself alone, will be able to allow you to pay for college. That's really powerful. But we're really just getting started here. Let's talk about the actual savings that we have. Okay, so when we have money to save, where's it going to go? There's a diversified cash flow account and private reserve account. I'm going to call them DCA and PRA for short. These are both high yield accounts. There's a couple differences, but let's look at their similarities. They are both high yield accounts. They have uninterrupted compound interest tax-free. Uninterrupted compound interest tax-free, and it's tied to the stock market. So you get all the gains of the stock market. But we do know that the stock market dips sometimes. But in these high yield accounts, when the stock market dips, you flatline. So you get all the gains of the stock market, and when it dips, you flatline, and then you get the gains. So it's zero risk of loss. But that's not the biggest thing. In these high yield accounts, you can double dip with them, which means you can take money out of these high yield accounts and use it for any purpose, but you still get uninterrupted compound interest tax-free as if the money never left. Folks, this has been around for over 100 years. So this isn't something new. It's regulated, it's in the IRS tax code, and it's just isn't mainstream, which is why this class exists. And so with that double dipping, I'm going to show you in a moment what we can do with that, even within this program. Now, the difference is you can start double dipping with the DCA in 30 days, and you can start double dipping with the PRA in a year. So typically the PRA, they're both high yield accounts, but the PRA typically has a higher yield. But they're both high yield accounts. You can double dip 30 days, a year, respectively. So what are some options on what to double dip in? Well, you know how wealthy people have those inside deals? This is one of them, land banking. Land that's been purchased 20 to 40% below market value in Southern California, in Antelope Valley. They're going to build a green city. The Olympics is coming to California. You can imagine what's going to happen to the price of land in Southern California in Antelope Valley. You have that unfair advantage, that inside deal to purchase land in the path of growth 20 to 40% below market right now. And so when you're double dipping, that's something you can double dip with. Here's another option, precious metals. There's a difference between saving with precious metals versus investing with precious metals versus leveraging precious metals. Saving with precious metals, you've heard of this. If you had an ounce of gold in the 80s, you could say buy an Italian suit. Well, with an ounce of gold today, you can still buy an Italian suit. That means precious metals holds on to its buying power. That's what that means. So really, you're only saving with precious metals when you purchase precious metals. You're just locking in your buying power. That's good, but even better is to invest with precious metals, also called ratio investing. That's when you buy precious metals with precious metals. Take that 1 ounce of gold and you buy X ounces of silver. And then you take that X ounces of silver and you buy Y ounces of platinum. All this over time. Ultimately, that 1 ounce of gold won't just buy you one Italian suit, it'll eventually buy you 2 Italian suits. So now your buying power has increased, truly. Now, that's different than leveraging precious metals. Leveraging precious metals is when you can buy precious metals, but you store them in a private depository. You know Fort Knox? Okay, that's a depository. There's a private depository. It's licensed, it's regulated, it's insured. And you can lease out your precious metals to institutional investors. That would be a Charles Schwab or a JP Morgan and the like. That's who you're leasing to. And you can get a monthly return on investment on those precious metals that's just sitting there. Anywhere between 1.5 to 5% per month. Hear me, per month, 1.5 to 5%. So you got to multiply by 12 to calculate the yearly return on investment. So that being said, with the DCA and PRA, you can double dip with precious metals in any of those 3 ways, but there's actually even more accelerated way. Fundable 360 has just launched in Make Wealth Real. It is business credit, which is not the same as your personal credit. This is business credit. So for an entity that's an EIN, like an LLC, or a corporation, if you're a nonprofit, whatever the case may be, you can have the business credit, $50,000 of business funding guaranteed. So, okay, now what can I do with that $50,000 or more? Whatever you like. So it's $50,000 of business credit, business funding, and you can use it for any purpose. Oh, any purpose, you say. How about for fundraising for college? Let's see what that looks like. So now you're going to want to take screenshots here. Pause, take screenshots, and double check the math on this. But after 1 year at $50,000, we're going to put it into the leveraging precious metals. And bottom line, after a year, we'll have $12,000 of profit. But then the next year, get this, we're going to apply for another $50,000 of credit. Because when you pay back on time, and this is how, as you see in this table here, when you pay back on time, that makes you eligible for more lines of credit. And so now the year 2, we do exactly that. Now we have $28,000 of profit. Year 3, we apply for another line of credit because we've been faithful in paying back everything thus far. This is how the big boys have always been doing it. We asked them to cheat, and they're showing us how to cheat. $50,000 for year 3. Same logic, another line of credit, year 4, $80,000. Another line of credit, year 5, $121,000. Add up all the profit. See the line there, annual profit reinvested? Add that up. That's the amount of money that you're actually fundraising for college. So you might have put two and two together already. If you have, remember, $44,000 a year for 1 year tuition, $176,000 for 4 years tuition. If you have 5 years just with the precious metals and the business funding alone, if you have 5 years, you can raise that 176,000. This is truly incredible. We ask these financial experts to help us cheat, and they're doing their job. Okay, so we're going to keep that's for savings, but there's more ways to fundraise as well. All right, so keep that in mind. And so in this program, they have a debt to wealth program. We kind of touched on it with those high yield accounts, but I want to highlight just one thing here, and I'm going to speed through this. When you pay down your debt sooner, you pay less in interest. You'll save thousands of dollars. So I want to highlight one thing, the instant pay raise. So in this program, there are CPAs and IRS enrolled agents. They're going to help you. They're actually going to do the work for you to get next year's tax return right now. Next year's tax return right now, and it's going to come through your paycheck. You're going to have a higher net pay in your existing paycheck. Now, what we strongly recommend, because I had a parent who went through this program and he got an extra $600 per month through the instant pay raise. What's strongly recommended is to apply that $600 and to put it into paying down your mortgage faster, right? Then you're going to get thousands of dollars of savings, and that's where the funds are coming from to pay for college, is through the savings that these experts are getting us. So that we're basically going to keep snowballing our money with that logic. I'm going to breeze through this. Licensed attorneys will also negotiate your bills. These are all kinds of bills: cell phone bill, electric bill, insurance bill, even pest control, just all kinds of things. Apply those savings, snowball them through your debt, freeing up thousands of dollars. Health sharing is different than health insurance. It's what we all thought about. A nonprofit is saying, let's put all of our money together, and when somebody has a need, we just take it out of the pot. That's what health sharing is. Typically, it's way cheaper. A parent went through this program, got $100 a month shaved off. We said snowball that into your debt, so you get hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of savings. That's where your college funds are coming from. There's a credit restoration with a nonprofit that's been around for 30 years. Higher credit score, lower interest rates, thousands of dollars saved. That's where the college funds are coming from. There's actually explicitly a student loan debt relief program. I had a parent who got $30,000 of their own student loans reduced. Well, then now that's freeing up $30,000 that can be allocated towards their own children. So you can use, they have pre-vetted programs for student loan debt relief. You can do that reactively or proactively for the parent or the child, respectively. That's in this program. Rent to own program, no credit or terrible credit. You can get into a home in as little as 30 days. That's not common, but it has happened. If you need to take out a loan, why not take it out of your house? A line of credit out of your house. A federal FAFSA loan is, even if you file for bankruptcy, those aren't forgiven. So not all loans are equal. Might as well take a loan out of your own house. And then they have a reward credit towards merchants that we all go to. Again, take those savings and snowball it into your debt. I just want to highlight this because this program's around for 7 years. We've been seeing how parents have been helped. On average, is $2,000 a month of savings. And so that's translate into what we're looking at: $44,000 a year for tuitions, $176,000 a year for 4 years. If you have 8 years, just with the cash back, the savings through those various programs, services in the program, with the $2,000 a month savings, that should pay for 4 years of college. But you need 8 years in order for that to accumulate. So once again, $176,000 for 4 years. The college fund itself, the trust fund, if you have 14 years, that'll do it all by itself. The college savings, the high yield accounts, the precious metals, the business credit, and the double dipping, 5 years out, that by itself will do it. The college funding through the cash back that's hitting your checking account, if you have 8 years, that alone will do it. So you got some options. Now, of course, there's a cost to the program. What does a program cost? It costs $150 per month. That is a cost to be in the Make Wealth Real program, $150 per month. And they also have a 30-day money back guarantee because they know people, they're concerned about that, right? And they say, look, these experts, they're not just helping you to cheat to pay for college. They're helping people to cheat to just make their money grow, save, grow, and protect their money. And they know what they can do. They'll give you a full refund if you don't get more than $150 per month in the first 30 days. So they want to make sure you're whole month one, okay? Now, the instant pay raise, that'll take 72 hours. It doesn't take 30 days for them to get you the cash back. You're going to see that in 72 hours through the instant pay raise alone. I'm telling you that, okay? So that's something to note so you can manage your expectations. 72 hours, they're going to get you the cash back, but the 30-day money back guarantee, they are obligated to honor that. So again, the $176,000 for 4 years of tuition. Again, the college fund, college savings and funding, 14, 5, and 8 years respectively. You might be saying, well, couldn't you kind of put them in combination, right? Take the cash back and then put it in the high yield accounts and then double dip with the precious metals, and then the college fund, which is the trust, is saving you from taxes, and then that's more money in your checking account, and then you just kind of yes, that's what people do. So everything that I've shown you has been basically overly conservative, but it does illustrate the point. But yes, this is what people would do, and this is what the financial experts advise to do. Now, the question still stands, what if you have less than 5 years? The question still stands. Or what if you have more than one child? Let's look at that. Folks, there's alternative funding outside the Make Wealth Real program. We know about scholarships and grants. It's unlikely you're going to get $20,000, $30,000 scholarships and grants. Obviously, it happens, but it's less likely. So go after the $500 and $1,000 grants, right? A lot of times they don't even get filled out. Now, the only gotcha, if you will, is that it takes time and energy to go after those $500 and $1,000 scholarship and grant. That's why when you say to a college student or to a high schooler, oh, we'll fill out scholarship and grants and go for the smaller ones, they give you that look because they know it's going to take time and energy. So the question is, with the same time and energy, would it be better just to get a job promotion and get the money that way? Or what if you invest it in real estate? That's a proven success formula. Buying a franchise. Again, there's a formula of success there. Some people will say, look, let me just do some Uber, some DoorDash, a side hustle, and that'll make up the gap. Or strike out on your own with a new business. You're good at your job, maybe strike out on your own and start your own business. Get a second job. All these, yes, they have their pros and cons, but what's the same about them is that it's going to take an investment of time and energy. So you know what? We're going to try to cheat once again. We want to know what do the wealth experts do to pick up additional income? All right. For whatever reason, we want to pay for college, but just what do they do to get additional income? So those CPAs and attorneys, real estate professionals, high yield account managers, land bankers, precious metals experts, and trust experts, what are they doing? Well, they refer clients to each other. So they refer clients amongst each other and they pick up a referral fee. Now, that's not the only thing that they do, but it's kind of like bare minimum. They refer clients amongst each other and pick up a referral fee. So why don't we take a page from their book and do what they do? So just with the business credit and funding program alone, you get a $400 bonus for every referral. So we get an opportunity to do that. We can get a $400 bonus for anybody who wants business funding for any reason. They might be trying to raise funds for college using the strategy we talked about with the precious metals, or they may need it just to operate their business. It doesn't matter. We can get a $400 bonus. So cool. That's an option on the table. Another thing is the Make Wealth Real program in its entirety, as we just went over. Bottom line, 12 referrals gets you $600 a month. So the same 12 referrals, the same 12 customers, month to month, will get you $600 a month of residual income. All right, so that's where the college funds are coming in from. Now, you saw that asterisk. It's a good one, not a bad one, because these are direct and indirect referrals. There's a 3 and free program where if a customer refers 3 other people, their membership is free. Their cost to be in the program is free. So 12 direct customers gets us $600 a month, but also volume customers. So referrals of referrals, if you will. So let's say you have 3 free customers. They're not paying anything because they each referred 3 customers. So you have 9 paying customers. 3 free customers and 9 paying customers is still a volume total of 12 customers. You'll still get the $600 a month, and it scales that way. So this is really powerful when we're have those less than 5 years. So you can get up to $15,000 per day. And so you might have a team who might want to take advantage of this because they want athlete money. That's why they say they want to be a basketball player, social media influencer, or an actor, actress. They just want the money. Well, $15,000 per day is $5 million a year and some change. And so if you want athlete money, you could you may not use it for college, but you could use this program by simply helping parents pay for college. You can make athlete money. That's something about financial literacy our young people should just know is out there. So the strategy is simply share with the people, the parents who have 14 years until the child is ready to go to college, because the trust fund alone, the ultimate college fund, that alone is going to pay for it. If they only have 5 years, or if they have 5 years, the college savings, the high yield accounts, double dipping, precious metals, business credit, that alone will get it done. If they have 8 years, just with the cash back through the team of financial experts, that alone will get it done. So you're kind of just looking for people who have basically how much time they have. So again, $176,000 for 4 years of education. If you got less than 5 years, connect with people who have 5 or more years, the parents who have 5 or more years, and that'll help the people who have less than 5 years, because you're just going to get paid for those referrals. Also, while using all the same services as well, of course. So, and yes, you could have people who have less than 5 years could share with people who also have less than 5 years, but the dust settles with those who have 5 or more years, because the program all by itself is going to pay for college. So we asked for these financial experts to help us cheat, and they did just that. So that's how we're going to get this done. We're going to get the resources we need to get it done. And fortunately, it's in this program. Now, believe it or not, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are more classes. There's more to learn about this topic. But this is an excellent start to fire out the gates. And just a little bit of bonus. Next time on Mega School, next class, we talk about something called the Central Bank Digital Currency, or CBDC. A Central Bank Digital Currency, or CBDC. That's where the government is going to ban paper cash money. Paper cash money is going to be banned, outlawed, made illegal. You'll be forced to use one digital bank that's completely controlled by the government. That means they can completely drain or freeze your bank account at any time for any reason. In America, the software is called FedNow. That's what you want to Google, FedNow. It doesn't operate as a CBDC right now, but they just need to turn on the switch and it will function as a CBDC. And you might think, oh, well, it's time to get the passport. Every nation on the planet is implementing their own CBDC. Every nation on the planet is implementing their own CBDC. That sounds scary. There is a solution. It's in the next class. So thank you so much. Whoever shared this video with you, circle back with them. They can share with you next steps, answer your questions, etc. Thank you for taking the time to learn this information, and I'll see you in next class.